Hello my friends, this is the retro guy. So I started to work again on my G5 transformation here, adding the ATX board to it. I actually built everything up. I tested it. It was fully operational, but the noise of the fans were way too high. It was like a server of sorts, and that was really unbearable, and I had to basically remove everything. So those are basically like the board and the fans and everything, and basically the problem was the fans on the modified power supply. So my mistake was those fans here, those are the original ones that came with the original power supply from the G5. I basically cleaned them up, and I thought that, well, that's good enough. Well, it wasn't. It really wasn't. Like, the noise was really unbearable. So I ordered a couple of new fans from Amazon, like silent ones. I'm going to replace those two here after they arrive. It should arrive tomorrow, and then I'm going to rebuild everything up and then put everything back on. So just to show you, because this is now a good opportunity for you guys to see what I've done here. So this is the original power supply enclosure from the G5, and what I've done here basically is I found like a very slim ATX power supply. I removed the enclosure of it and I built it on the original G5 enclosure here. And that's pretty much it. Like, it's not much to it, to be honest. There was also like a little mod that I've done on the power connector here, so I could basically preserve the original power connector on the G5. It's very easy to do, and that's pretty much it. As you can see, like, there is some hot glue here, like holding the portions of the board in place, but it's actually drilled. It's screwed into the metal plate here. So it's actually I was lucky enough to find an ATX PSU that had the holes matching, well, at least some of the holes matching the original G5 enclosure here. So it's really nice. So that's basically it. Like, there is not much else for me to explain in terms of the PSU. Once you put the cover up, which is here, right, it becomes like pretty much stock. I have done this as well to avoid the heat sinks here to basically touch the metal plate on the enclosure. I have made this mistake before, and I actually recorded it on the previous video. That basically what I've done is I just close it up, and those two guys were touching the metal plate, which really caused a very serious issue. Luckily enough, no harm done, and I didn't lose the power supply as well, so everything is okay. But yeah, it's good for you guys to know. Like, always make sure that you know, the heatsink, because the profile on this is so thin. As you can see, like the heatsinks are pretty much like on the verge of touching it, and you have to protect the metal plate to make sure it doesn't touch. And that's pretty much it. Like, everything else is self-explanatory. So again, I'm just going to replace those fans here and rebuild everything, like put everything back together, and I should be good to go. One thing that it is worth mentioning here is when I rebuilt the case, I forgot to add the hard drive enclosure here, the hard drive cage, and I had to basically disassemble the whole thing again. And it's very tricky, you know, to remove this shelf here, so it's a lot of work. So if you guys are into this direction and have the same version of the G5 as I do, remember when putting everything back together to add the shelf here before, to add the cage here before adding the shelf. Otherwise, you will basically go through the same issues as I had. Well, that's pretty much it. Like, as you can see here, I'm using the laser hive plate, right, to hold the ATX board. It's a very good solution. And also I'm using the Laser Hive back plate here, and I even added a new SATA DVD, so it's working fine. I just tested it, and that's it. Like that's pretty much it. As soon as I finish building everything up, I get back and I give you guys an update. But as I said, I have already tested it before, and everything's working. It's just the noise that was really unbearable. Okay. So since I am talking about the G5, which is that guy there, I wanted to talk a little bit about this one here, which is a G4 that I've done in the past. So this is also ATX. As you can see here, it's also using the Laser Hive mod down here, and I preserved basically the power supply. This is an ATX power supply, but I preserved basically the, actually, as far as I remember, I have to double check, but let's open this up. Yeah, this is, I replaced the power supply, of course. So this is an ATX power supply, as you can see here. And it preserved basically on the outside here the exact same cuts from the original G4 power supply. I had to actually look it up to find one that had exactly the same, you know, on and off switch and the power outlet there. Inside, what you have here is basically the unmodified fan from the system, which is very quiet, and there is also a SATA DVD here. This was, I think, the most challenging bit, because the problem is it's really hard, you know, to fit the motherboard here with the CD, the DVD-ROM on. So a lot of people basically just drop the DVD, since most people don't use it. I do use it, so I need it. And as you can see here, it's a very, very close call here. So it basically hits the power connector on the board. So you have to find one that has the exact size to fit the case. And there is some trimming that needs to be done on the metal portion here, as you can see, that I've done. Other than that, that's pretty much stock. Like this is the Laser Hive ATX mount, and that's pretty much it. Like I'm using this is an i5, so I'm using the default Intel fan for it. I didn't mount anything like fancy or anything like that, and it's been running for 2 years now without issues. So temperature is actually very stable, very good, and well, not like a heavy gamer or anything like that, but it just works fine. So this one now is going to be for my son, and I'm going to upgrade to that one there, which is going to be an i5 with a proper NVIDIA graphics card basically. So one little mod that I've done to this G4 case that I'm really proud of is when you power it up, it does turn on the Apple logo there, you see. So yeah, it's I have to drill that and put a small white LED in there and connect all the wires, and so it basically works. So it's very nice. It's a very nice looking machine, as you can see. Very silent, so you don't hear the fans or anything like that, the way it should be, right? And the DVD works just as it should, right? So there you go.